The air was still, unnervingly silent, as if the world itself was holding its breath. I remember the first time I heard about the place, the abandoned roadside motel sitting on the edge of town, long forgotten by travelers. They said the motel was cursed, that those who stayed too long could hear music that wasn't there. A melody so haunting it slithered into your mind, wrapping around your thoughts, feeding on your fears, until you were no longer yourself. It was called the SINPHONY, a tune that had no beginning and no end. I never believed in those stories. At least, not until I found myself stranded on that same highway one rainy evening in October. My car had sputtered its last breath, steam curling up from the hood, and the only sign of life for miles was that rundown motel with its flickering neon sign. The letters barely held together, SINPHONY, half of them dead, yet glowing just enough to pull me in like a moth to a flame. The lobby smelled of mildew and old wallpaper peeling at the edges. Behind the cracked counter stood a woman in her late 50s, her skin pale and drawn, as if she hadn't seen the sun in years. She greeted me with a voice too sweet to match her hollow eyes. "Room for one?" she asked. My stomach nodded, but I nodded. I didn't have a choice. The room she gave me was small, with faded red curtains and a broken clock stuck at 3:33. I tossed my bag on the bed and noticed the silence. No humming of the fridge, no dripping from the faucet, no sound at all. It was then I heard it, the faintest whisper of music. A piano, soft and almost tender. The notes drifted through the walls, filling the air with a melody that was both beautiful and terrifying. I told myself it must be from another room, another guest maybe, but when I checked, the halls were empty. Every door was locked, every window covered. That night, I couldn't sleep. The music grew louder, swelling until it felt like the floorboards vibrated beneath me. I pressed my hands to my ears, but it seeped through my bones. With every note, memories I had long buried rose to the surface. Regrets, mistakes, betrayals, all replayed in my head as if the melody was dragging them out. I wept until morning, unable to silence the song. At breakfast, I asked the motel woman about it. She only smiled thinly and said, "The SINPHONY chooses who it wants to hear it. Some fight it, some don't." Her gaze lingered on me a little too long. My skin prickled. Over the next day, I met others who seemed trapped there too. A young man named Brian, who checked in on his way to California years ago but never left. A mother named Claire, who swore she only stayed one night, but when she looked in the mirror, streaks of gray ran through her hair. They all spoke of the music. Each of them had heard a different version, a lullaby, a requiem, a love song, but the effect was the same. The SINPHONY fed on them, pulling at their fears and secrets, leaving them shells of who they once were. I tried to leave. God knows I tried. I packed my bag and bolted for the road, but no matter how far I walked, the motel reappeared ahead of me. The neon sign glowing like a beacon. The world beyond blurred into mist, as though reality itself bent around this place. I screamed, I ran, I collapsed, but when I opened my eyes, I was back at the lobby, the woman waiting with keys in her hand. That night, the music changed. It wasn't the piano anymore. It was violins, sharp and screeching, tearing into my mind. My body convulsed with every note, as if my veins pulsed to its rhythm. I saw shadows in the corners, tall and twisted figures moving to the melody, their limbs bending unnaturally. They whispered my name in unison, voices hollow, urging me to give in. I realized then what the SINPHONY truly was. It wasn't just music, it was alive. A force that drew from pain and fear, composing an eternal piece made from human suffering. Every guest was an instrument, every scream a note, every life another verse. And once you became part of it, you could never escape. Brian lost himself first. One evening he began humming the tune, his voice trembling at first, then stronger. His eyes glazed over, his body swaying as though possessed. By morning he was gone. Only his clothes remained on the bed, folded neatly, and the music in the halls sounded fuller, richer. Claire clung to me after that, terrified she would be next. But fear was exactly what the SINPHONY wanted. It latched onto her sobs, her trembling hands, her desperate prayers. One night, she simply stopped moving, her body still on the mattress, but her mouth frozen in a silent scream. I swear I heard her voice join the music the moment she took her last breath. Now it was just me, alone with the melody. It grew louder with each passing hour, twisting into something unbearable. I tore at the wallpaper, shattered the mirror, smashed the broken clock, but the music only laughed at me through the chaos. My reflection in the shards of glass no longer looked like me. My eyes were hollow, my lips whispering the song though I never opened my mouth. On my last night, I sat on the bed and gave in. The melody swelled, wrapping around me like a lover's embrace. I felt it consume me, thread by thread, until there was nothing left but music. The walls disappeared, the motel vanished, and I was suspended in darkness, surrounded by endless echoes of the symphony. I was no longer myself, I was part of the song. Forever playing, forever trapped. And somewhere, outside, another lost traveler would see that flickering neon sign. They'd step inside, desperate for shelter, and they too would hear the music. The symphony never ends.